Kenya had those words to say. That's the only Nobel laureate we know. That's what she had to say. If you have ever heard me before, perhaps you know I quote Nelson Mandela a lot, and therefore I have a lot of respect for him. Please do not misquote me. Yes, he was a great man, and by the time he died, he was the greatest icon in the world. He was the greatest brother in the world. I have often wondered, is it possible? Is it possible? He may have questioned his priorities. Why, as much as he may have been rocked and locked in prison for 27 years, why he lost 3 of his own children to HIV/AIDS? Is it possible all alone? He may have questioned his priorities. I leave you to be the judge. But I wonder whether there is anyone hearing my voice tonight who would want to reach the top of his or her career and then lose his own children to substance abuse, to crime, to terrorism, to HIV/AIDS, to a gun bullet. You see, to me, true success is when those closest to me love and respect me the most. Because parental responsibilities cannot be delegated. You cannot pick it up from where you left. It is not a by the way, it is the core business. If my own son Zeke or my daughter Ivy one day cried, got lost in crime, violence, substance abuse, in the name of me motivating the rest of the world, if my precious wife Mercy walked out on me because of misconduct, I'll consider myself a broken-hearted father and a total failure. If in my quest for the ring of fame and fortune, I lost those 3 meaningful relationships, for me, life was not worth living. You see, ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to you right now, chances are very high there's a phone call that can come and you walk out on me. No matter how much points we are sharing here, chances are also very high in the course of this forum, there are people who will be looking for you that you'll not remember to call back. You have time for who you value. You will call back who you value in the order of priority of how you value them. In other words, I'm saying, if you are struggling to have time with your own children, you might as well quote me that you don't value them, you are living in deceit. Time is created. We all have the same time. Idle people don't have time. The average workaholic is a very lazy person. Busy people have time. They have their priorities right. They know what they value. I still did my physical conditioning today. I have time for what I value. Where does your time go? Between 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock during the day, you have time to entertain everyone with coffee. And then I don't have time. I don't have time. Over lunch hour, you have time to gossip someone. I don't have time for gym. I don't have time for children. At night, you have time for TV. You pick the remote like this. You watch 7 o'clock news, 9 o'clock news, 11 o'clock news, as though there's an exam based on the exam tomorrow. Some of you pick the remote. I wonder what is coming next. I wonder what is coming next. If you're wondering, why are you watching? You have time for what you value. Now, to connect with people in the marketplace is differently from business networking. To connect means I'll get involved in their own personal affairs. A bank is not a building. A bank is a person. Every organization you go to, it is about people. I've seen doors open for me because I smiled with the receptionist and took her number and asked her to tell me when the PS comes. And for sure, she communicates to me when the PS comes. I connected with her. Life will become infinitely easier on you and for you when you develop connections. You will complicate your life whenever you burn relational bridges, either with loved ones or in the marketplace. The reality in this life, you will never stand alone. You will need someone else to lift up your heart to move to the next level. You must deliberately seek to enhance your level of associations. Every given year, I want to build new relationships. Number 5. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to communicate. To break your silence, I think I'm going to give you some 3 stories. 1 negative and 2 positive. Is that okay? And obviously, I'll not give you a choice. I'll start with a negative story. I read the story of a woman who wanted to divorce her husband. After a lot of talking, the attorney was getting a little bit disturbed, and he just confronted her. Stop blabbering, be specific. Like how? She worded. All right, let's get to some details. Do you have any grouts with your husband? She replied, oh yeah. We have about 10 acres north of town. Excuse me, I'm not talking those sorts of grouts. I'm asking you, do you have any garage with your husband? Oh, you're asking whether I have a garage with my husband. I don't have a garage, but just a tiny carport. Excuse me, woman. I'm not asking about a garage. I'm asking, does this man beat you up? Beat me up? Oh, never. I'm just about every morning up before he wakes up. Oh, excuse me, woman. What's wrong with your husband? She replied, the guy simply can't communicate. Who do you think was the problem? For the benefit of those who miss, I'm going to try to give you a good one. Are you ready? That was a story of a woman who was in a retirement home on the very first night. She sat directly opposite a very handsome man, at least in her own opinion, during dinner time. She stared at him until he got uncomfortable and confronted him. And he said, I have the feeling you're staring at me. I am, she exclaimed. Why are you doing that? I'm amazed. Amazed at what? Gorgeous me. You look exactly like my third husband. The color of your eyes, your mannerism, your stature, your eating behavior fits the description of my third husband. All right, woman. How many times have you been married? Twice. And I think that's a good communicator. I heard of a story of a girl who was in love with a boy, and she went to the mother, very enthusiastic, said, Mama, I have a fiancé and I want us to get married. The mother said, you know very well, as Catholics do not get married to Baptists. Cancel the engagement. The girl began to deteriorate from stress to distress. The mother, however, was a gifted saleswoman, and she decided to engage the young man on coffee. And on the very first coffee date, the young man decided to convert from being a Baptist to a Catholic. In a span of about 6 weeks, the girl goes back home sobbing. And the mother answered, what's the problem, daughter? I thought we persuaded your boyfriend to become a good Catholic. And she replied, that's the problem, Mama. You oversold the idea. The young man now is becoming a priest. I think you agree with me. That's a good communicator. Is that so? Now, you know, one of the strangest things about communication is the illusion that it has taken place. I grew up in Sunday school. Every time we left the church, I had people saying, the adults, tumebarikiwa, we are blessed, we are blessed, we are blessed. Okay, what did the pastor say? Wacha hiyo maneno. Si tumebarikiwa. All right, what was the theme? Tumebarikiwa. We were blessed. No details. And I'm not sure whether you've ever gone to this meeting. Could be a PTA meeting, could be an AGM, could be anywhere. And you're wondering, when on earth is this guy going to keep quiet? Have you been in that situation? And for that reason, I'm going to give you 3 simple rules about communication. Rule number 1, say it as though you're saying it for the first time. Say it as though you're saying it for the first time. Allow me to start with the relationships amongst ourselves as adults. I'm going to ask you a question. Is there anyone listening to me here? Anyone who came as a couple? Married couple? Anyone in our midst? I can see one there. Oh, there's so many. Let me start right here. Is your wife near you? Oh, right. Look at my eyes. What's your name, sir? Let me see your name.
My name is Richard.
Richard. Okay, Carol, look at my eyes. Don't look at him. Can you see me? Did he tell you today, I love you? No. Thank you for being honest. I want to test with 3 people. You came with your wife? Where is she? Oh, fantastic. Not domestics today. Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. Did he tell you today? Not at night. Remember, no man forgets to say at night. No. Did he tell you today I love you? No. Let me try one more. I saw another hand here. I know you. Engineer Simi. Where's your wife? Has he told you today I love you? No. Those are 3 cases. Remember, every man remembers to say, they will say tonight, by the way. Simiu and Richard and Bogu. On behalf of all the men in the hall, I have a message for you. You need to tell her as though you are saying it for the first time. What's the reason? You know, this is the African behavior. Si anaona. Nyumba nimejenga. Ng'ombe nimenunua. Watoto nimeelimisha. Hii uzungu ni ya nini? Si anaona. Now, I need to tell you, you need to tell her for 3 reasons. Number 1, God keeps telling you, I love you with an everlasting love. Number 2, you need to love that woman according to her definition of love. Every woman I've ever talked to, she wants to hear she's loved, even if she's not married, even if she's widowed. Every woman wants to hear the word, I love you. Number 3, and the most important, Simiu, this is for you. It is cheaper than hiring an investigator. Because the moment you stop telling her and Jagger begins to tell her, she begins to believe him. But the way to a girl is through the ears. If you stop speaking and he starts speaking, she begins to warm up to him. It is cheaper to tell her than to hire an investigator. You know, in 2010, I was doing some training for the Ministry of Water on performance management and change management. And I was going the entire country. And when I was in Kitui, training in project management, I decided to throw in some soft skill for 2 hours. And then I challenged the guys in a meeting. There were not as many as you are. There were about 30 of them. I told them to pick up their phone, call your wife, call your husband, and tell them I love you. Just say that. It doesn't hurt. Just say I love you. So one guy picked up his phone. He called the wife. Then he called me to listen to the conversation. Put her on speakerphone. Hi, darling. I've missed you so much. You are everything to me. Before he finished, she began to scream on phone. What has happened? What's wrong with you? You see, listen, if you have not done it for 23 years, start it mos. You're going to start it pole. Otherwise, you think you're in a bigger cover-up. Say it as though you're saying it for the first time. When you're talking to your own children, and you have already given them the instructions, I urge you tonight, repeat it over and over again as though you're saying it for the first time. Rule number 1. Rule number 2. When you're communicating, don't shout for simple reasons. Shouters are mad and madmen are not communicators. See, some of you live in mansionettes. You're in the sitting room and your daughter is upstairs. Wajiko, please take a walk. Take a walk. You'll even cut down your fat level. Just take a walk. Go to where Wajiko is. Shouting is very confusing. Rule number 3. Labeling is disenabling. In other words, rule number 3, when you're communicating, address the situation. Don't make issues personal. Address the situation. Don't make issues personal. Why? Labeling is disenabling. I want to drive this point home. I'm going to use the lady here. What's your name? Flo. Look at me. Look at me, Flo. Tonight you go home and you realize the house girl has over-roasted fish. And you look at her eyeballs and you tell her, hey, look at me. Shake your head. Shake it properly. Uko na network. Uko sawa sawa. Let me tell you, there is nothing wrong with her head. There is something wrong with the fish. Address the fish problem, not the head problem. If she's able to think like you, she should be in this hall. Let us address the fish problem, not the head problem. Even in the office, please, when they do the wrong thing, do not label them. Label the behavior. That way, you start connecting with people. You start working with people. When you label people, you belittle them. You injure their emotions, and the relationship collapses. Number 6. Number 6. Learn to listen. Learn to listen. I read the story of this boy who was in a train with his 2 parents. Allow me to use the word boy because although he was 24 years old, he behaved like a 6-year-old. Because every time the train was moving, he would scream, Dad, look at those trees. They're moving faster than the train on the opposite direction. Dad, look at the clouds. They are moving faster than the train. And one passenger was upset and decided to confront this family. And he said, you know, I have a phone number of a good psychiatrist whom I want to recommend to your son because he's literally behaving like a 6-year-old. And the father looked at this passenger calmly, controlled, and spoke to him and said, sir, thank you so much, but you're wrong. Our son was born blind for the first time he saw today. Everybody has a story. Why? Listen, number 1. When you listen you hear what isn't being said. When you listen, you hear what is not being said. You see, a lot long ago, non-listeners miss out on the non-verbal cues, whether they are relating their spouses, with their business partners, with their colleagues, or with their own children. When you don't have the habit of listening, you never hear what isn't being said. You might be assuming your children know so much, but perhaps if you care to listen, you'd actually be surprised there's so much you are assuming they know that they do not know. Why listen, number 2? When you listen, you avoid generalizations and become case specific. When you listen, you avoid generalizations and you become case specific. What are generalizations? Africans are corrupt. Kikuyus are thieves. Coastalians are lazy. Wamama ni wale wale. Different shapes of madazi. Different shapes of madazi, but the same duff. Hey, you leaving your man. Why? He's moving out. What's wrong with you? Every man, dogs retain yours. Generalizations, stereotypes, dogmas. Had you listened to that Kikuyu, perhaps you would have met one Kikuyu who doesn't steal. You go and bang tables at the principal's office. You're losing your child. You bang tables at your employees. Companies collapse when employees know the details behind the collapse simply because no one is listening. You make a trip to China. You come back. Listen to everyone's story. Perhaps you're able to pick what they didn't pick. And that becomes a business gap. That becomes a business opportunity. Have you ever thought of this? Everything you say, you already know. There's nothing you say that you don't know unless you're a Madare case. Everything you say, you already know. You begin to learn the moment you shut up and begin to listen. There's no statement I'm making today accidentally. I've thought through what to tell you over and over and over again. When you listen, you learn. When you listen, you send a signal to the other people you care. Because the rest of us don't care how much you know. They care how much you care. You can rebuke people in love. There's someone in our midst here. I'll not tell you his name. Would you believe this? I rebuked him. I rebuked him today. And I told him, why are you missing the meeting? I've been seeing your wife here. I don't pay him. He's not my employee. He's a respected husband. And you know, funny enough, he told me, thank you, Daktari, I'm going to come for the meeting. Why? Because he listened to the tone of care. He knew I was speaking this in love. People don't care how much you know until they care how much you care. Number 7. Empathize with others. Empathize with others. I heard of a story of a boy who was very ambitious and he wanted to become the president of his country. Unfortunately, he wasn't faring well in school. The father told him, do you realize at your age Bill Clinton was getting no raise? And the boy paused for a moment and told the father, Dad, but you also realize at your age Bill Clinton was already the US president. Now, in case you missed, I'll give you another one. I heard of a story of a boy who was failing in the line of academics. And the father lectured him for literally an hour. At the end of the 1-hour lecture, the father asked the young man, son, do you have any question? And the boy said, yes, Dad, I have a question. Do you think my foolishness is heredity or environmental? By the way, in another case, this is a case that I witnessed myself personally. I was in a school, I was a guest speaker in the AGM. And a lady came in that office of the principal. She had heard me speak before. She was very upset with the daughter. The daughter had done something that was mischievous. The mother gave her some 2 slaps. And then the mother made a mistake. She told the girl, wewe ng'ombe sana. The girl looked at the mother's eye and said, Mom, you're wrong. I am not a cow. I am a calf. I think the message is clear. To empathize means to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. How did I want to be treated when I was growing up, especially when I was wrong? When I failed an exam, there are some of us in our midst, if they were very honest, although they are telling their son, their daughter to work hard in mathematics, and we tell them right now, okay, wekelea KCSE yako kwa meza. Tuache mambo mingi, wacha tuone vile ulifanya. Some of you